are we at? So that was the US team. The vehicle concept art is where we're at next. Vehicle content, EU. So these are the European artists. Hercules, Crusader, Starlifter C2. Right away, I would expect to see, if they do a delayed patch on Q1, that you guys might see the C2, A2, and M2 be done. So 10 weeks building, implementing, and balancing the Crusader Hercules Starlifter as a flight-ready vehicle. So I would not be surprised if we see a patch at the very last week of Q1, or possibly late into Q2, or as a little hot patch as it's coming in. Aegis Redeemer. So this gives you an idea of when it's coming. Q3 possibly. This encompasses all tasks, including design, art, audio, tech required for the implementation of the Aegis Redeemer gunship into the PU. And if you guys don't know what the Redeemer is, it's basically a multi-crew gunship, kind of like a mole. You know, you get I don't know how many turrets it had on it, but I think it was 3. So captain and 3 turrets kind of thing, or captain and 2 turrets, something like that. So that's what's going on with that. Now you know when it's coming out. Aegis Gladius Gold Standard. So this is a final pass on Q1 for the single fighter. 4 weeks, 1 artist, implementing, polish, and optimizing for all features required to bring the Aegis Gladius up to gold standard. So I would be curious to know if that means that all the components that are going to be on it are going to be accessible now properly. So here's the M2 version of the Starlifter. Again, expect to see a patch right around there for it. Expect to see a sale. Expect to see the price go up by 50 bucks or something like that. There's the A2. Same deal. Unannounced. Doesn't say what, it just says vehicle. Q3. 3 artists, 1 designer. Miscellaneous support from 1 artist, 1 designer. Another unannounced content for Q1. Squadron 42 vehicle support, 43 weeks, so basically the whole year. Polishing and iterating various vehicles needed for Squadron 42. Single player campaign. Bug fixing and tech debt, 38 weeks. General bug fixing, optimization for all game features and back-end tech, 13 artists, 4 designers. Shield emitters. And we've already talked about that. Looks like the US and EU are working on that together. There's the Retaliator gold status again. Argo and PUV gold standard, implementing the polishing, optimizing features required to bring the Argo and PUV to gold standard. This is the little personnel mover, cargo mover. Unannounced vehicle, 26 weeks for an unannounced vehicle with 4 artists, 1 designer. I don't know. I don't think it's actually lining up with anything.
Hello.
Hello. Miss Call B, coming for, looks like not the end of the year. With that could be end of year, could be going into quarter one. I would expect it to be 2022 before you see the miscall B, the miscall A, again into 2022. 29 weeks each, 4 artists, 1 designer. The RSI Polaris, which I'm sure a lot of people want to know about. That looks like into 2022 as well. 6 artists, 2 designers, encompasses all tasks, including design, art, audio, and tech implementation for the RSI Corvette into the PU. So this makes it sound like it's going to be flight ready, but they don't say flight ready. Vehicle content US, unannounced. And this is, we're going to go back to the beginning of quarter one. So tech content, 3 people working on it, 1 designer. So this sounds to me like a big deal. Would not be surprised if that is either more mining stuff or maybe I'm not going to say salvage. I'm betting it's more mining stuff, and I'm betting it's probably, I want to say small refinery. But totally guessing. RSI Constellation Taurus. One artist, 2 designer, or sorry, 1 artist, 1 designer, and 3 tech. This could be then related to this unannounced, could be docking. Oh, that's weird. Implementing and balancing RSI's hauling variant of the Constellation, the Taurus, as a flight-ready ship in the game. The Nova tank coming in right away for quarter 2. Squadron 42 vehicle support. They're working on that right away. Polishing and iterating of various vehicles needed for Squadron 42 single player campaign. Enemy ships. 27 weeks construction and implementation of approved concept for various enemy ships. 3 artists going in all the way up until quarter 3. It's probably for Pyro. There's the Hercules Starlifter. Looks like they're working on it as well for tech, implementing and balancing the Crusader Hercules Starlifter C2 as flight ready vehicle. So definitely quarter 1 we're seeing the Hercules Starlifter. It's C2, M2, and A2. Envol F8 Lightning. 12 weeks implementing and polishing and optimizing all features required to bring the Anvil F8 Lightning up to the gold standard. Does not mean it's available in game because it is something to do with Squadron 42, possibly as a reward for completing it. Hull visual degradation introduced visual wear and tear to the player ships as they age and degrade. When implemented, ships will subtly change depending on how long they have existed in the verse. This is going on right away for week 5-6, quarter 1. Miscellaneous support for 26 weeks, 3 techs, 2 designers, 1 artist. Again, this is a specific team. This is the US content team. Miscellaneous support, that's what we were just looking at. Vanduul fleet. 4 weeks implementing and polishing and optimizing all features required to bring the various ships of the Vanduul fleet to the gold standard. So we're seeing a lot of this final pass gold standard. So it's a possibility that we're going to see some Vanduul fleet if this is done. Just the first Star Citizen and Squadron 42, so might be doing some scenarios with that. F7A MK1 Gold Standard, 22 weeks implementing polishing of the F7A MK1, one artist. And that's for beginning of quarter 3. MK2, 22 weeks. So this is the F7A MK2, quarter 3 as well. One artist. Crusader, Ares, Starfighter, Ion, and the Inferno. I'm going to assume that these are done at the same time, and they are. So you guys are going to see the Inferno for quarter 3 released. There's the Starlifter, again, quarter 1, unannounced. Content, 10 weeks. At the beginning for quarter 2. Techs, 3 techs, 5 artists, 2 designers. Weapon capacitors version 1. So we've had shield emitters, now we have weapon capacitors. This is happening in quarter 2. Players will have the ability to manage the amount of extra energy that goes to weapons, making critical decisions on the distribution of energy in order to defend, attack, or just run away. Bug fixes and tech debt. This is basically for the whole year, obviously. So this is just making sure everything works through 2021. 6 artists, 2 designers, 3 tech. Content are dedicated to that. Unannounced, 2 weeks of unannounced content. This is brief. Quarter 4, probably something to do with Pyro. Unannounced tech around the same time. Again, probably something to do with Pyro. Vehicle experience team working on shield capacitors. Engineers 1, design 2. When complete, players will have the ability to manage the amount of extra energy distributed to shields, allowing them to choose between maximizing defenses or using that power to attack or escape. Basically, pretty much the same description as weapons. Space mines and bombs, 11 weeks. Again, this is quarter 1. Players have the ability to drop powerful bombs over targets in atmosphere from ships. So this is talking about the A2 in space. Players in certain ships will gain the ability to release space mines in coordinated fashion in an attempt to trap or capture. So this could be the Nautilus, I believe it is. So I don't know if they've actually, did we have an unannounced ship up here that lines up with the Nautilus? Hey Vegas Squid, how you doing? So that is an interesting little thing there. We might have to go up and take a look and see if a Nautilus is going to be a surprise for us. I kind of doubt it, but we haven't seen them talk about a Nautilus yet, but they are talking about this. So ship CPU, designing and implementing computer blades for ships, including various blades that can be used to modify or improve certain aspects of a ship's functionality, such as unlocking more complex targeting abilities. And this is right away that we have a designer working on it in quarter 1 and an engineer taking up to 31 weeks, so quarter 3. It looks like design is getting some work done, and then engineers are delayed till quarter 3, or not being pushed till quarter 3, probably because some other tech needs to be made, or it's just not important. You have to remember they're still looking to hire people. So if you guys know how to program or do any of this kind of stuff, then might be a job for you. Unannounced 3 weeks, unannounced vehicle. So there you go, guys. Nautilus. Nautilus, in my opinion, is going to be here. Makes a little bit too much sense. Or just a totally unannounced vehicle. It could be one that we're just totally not aware of. There is my volume back in Discord.
Yeah.
And
Oh, when's that Hercules coming?
this month.
Is it?
Yep. Oh, sorry, not
Wow.
this month. I mean January.
Oh, okay.
But it should be, oh, sorry, more accurately, Q1.
Is there anything to do with it besides move big things?
Move big things, bomb things. That's basically it.
Right.
Missile improvements. So 5 weeks, beginning of Q1, convert missiles to the IFCS guidance and control system, which will improve missile performance and tracking ability, enable greater control over general missile behaviors. Weapon capacitors. So again, this is something that they already showed us. Basically controlling your power. More bug fixes, tech debt, 51 weeks, so they're assigning the whole year for 2 designers, 2 engineers. There's more Crusader, Starlifter, and M2, the Nova tank, the Taurus. Am I going over this twice? No, I'm not. This is just repeated again. The Taurus, 3 weeks, implementing and bouncing RSI's hauling variant of the Constellation Taurus was flight ready in game. That'll be Q2. You guys are going to see your Tauruses if you bought one. Unannounced content for that patch as well. Dynamic events. Continued work on back-end tech to support the development of dynamic events in Star Citizen over, yep. 1 designer. Turret usability improvements. Further improvements to the turret gameplay, including giving gunners more flexibility and support when using additional weaponry. This is for Q3. Crusader Hercules Starlifter. 5 weeks on that guy. Third person camera, 5 weeks. Adding improved follow behavior to the third person camera with increased support for ground vehicles. The camera will also fully disconnect during accidents for more cinematic crashes. That's cool. Thruster capacitors. So this is, we haven't run across this one yet, but thrusters will have the ability to manage the amount of extra energy that goes into the thrusters, making for fighting, critical decisions, escaping, blah, blah, blah. Unannounced content. Q3 into Q4. Again, this is probably starting to lean towards Pyro. Ground vehicles version 2. Update and improve current ground vehicle movement parameters and simulation for more robust tuning and identity between various ground vehicles. Vehicle feature team. Bug fixing and debt. General gameplay. General bug fixing and optimization for all game features and backend tech. More visual head hull degradation, missile improvements, docking ship to ship. I think this is what we've already gone over this up top. Yep. Vehicle names and serial numbers. This is a new one. 3 weeks at the beginning of Q1. Adding the ability for ships that display custom player assigned names on the side of their ships. Special serial numbers will also be shown, and all other ships will have unique serial numbers displayed to identify them in the verse. MFD rework. This can't come soon enough, to be honest. Oh, and it's going to take all year. We will both rebuild ship MFDs with our new building blocks and UI technology, as well as completing redesign them in an effort to make them more customizable, better match for the ship aesthetics, and better at serving ship gameplay. That's too bad it's not going to be sooner, but at least it's going to be next year. So this gets rid of Flash. And if you guys didn't know, all your MFDs are made of Flash, and that's why they suck. And that's why when you turn your ship on, you might lose up to 10 frames per second. Restricted area 3.0, 17 weeks. So they're going to start working this again, Q1 to Q2. This includes various tasks involved in redesign of restricted areas. When completed, these areas will be less intrusive, making landing in cities more seamless experience. Hopefully that's true. Miscellaneous supports for those teams, 35 weeks, they have 5 engineers.
They're testing with a reclaimer.
Yeah. Thruster capacitors, we already went over that. Jump points, we probably already went over this. This we did. Chapter 24, I'm assuming this is for, yeah, it says Squadron 42. We're gonna skip that. Unannounced. 5 weeks, unannounced content close to Pyro. So this is probably another Pyro thing. Quantum UI. 7 weeks better, provides a better integrated, more accurate and useful quantum travel UI within the building. Within the new building blocks technology. This will integrate better with the existing flight UI and other newer aspects of ship UI. Fuel scooping. So Starfarer and Gemini come into play now for Q4. Improvements on how hydrogen intakes regenerate fuel takes into account environmental density and availability of various gases, allows you to mix different kinds of gases for different efficiencies. So that's interesting if this will still bring in the Starfarer. It may not, in terms of it actually being able to refuel. They haven't mentioned refueling, just fuel scooping and mixing. Shield emitters we've already gone over. Control surfaces, 5 weeks, 1 engineer. Ships with control surfaces will be able to use them in atmosphere to aid their maneuverability. This will allow for improved performance from ships that have weak maneuvering thrusters in atmosphere and bring new depth to aerodynamic flight in game. Multi-crew permission system. This is a big deal. So by the end of the year, Q4, multi-crew permission system that will allow players to assign roles to each other in running large ships. Roles determine what access you will have to view, manipulate ship systems, and players will be able to customize this as they need. So it doesn't look like locking doors, but in terms of access to MFDs, which is a big deal. So 2 engineers for that. Vehicle tech team. Radar and scanning. Right away, Q1 Radar is used to passively locate and track contacts and display their whereabouts to the player. Scanning is used to obtain information about the specific entity. Ping actively finds additional contacts or highlights volumes of space to investigate weak signatures, both of which are displayed via the radar and its AR HUD elements. So radar scanning version 2. Event system one-shot triggers. Recorder 1, 4 weeks, 1 engineer. When complete, the event system will no longer have multiple loops when events are dispatched. I'm assuming this is a cleanup of tech. Lining gear springs. 8 weeks, 1 engineer. Supports for cinematics to be able to control lining gear spring height. Okay. Bug fixes and tech debt. They got 2 designers, 3 engineers dedicated to helping out other teams here and fixing the back-end tech. Migrating legacy vehicle XMLs to data core. So this is what chat was talking about earlier. So getting rid of the XML and getting into this new system called data core. 2 engineers, 2 designers, 26 weeks. So basically the majority of the year. SDF shields. Adapt. So 4 weeks, 1 engineer. Adapt shield code to determine shields hits based off dynamically contoured shield meshes for more accurate combat gameplay and to eliminate possible weak spots in shields. This also extends shields tech to entities beyond just vehicles. Miscellaneous support. So this is just extra staff supporting people. So 3 engineers, 2 designers, 44 weeks. Basically to the end of the year. Retaliator room OC swapping. System supporting players to swap vehicle rooms and add modules via VMA and allows designers to specify vehicle setup at runtime in Squadron 42. I'm going to assume that is completely about the Retaliator modularity and how you can pull out the torpedoes and throw in something else like cargo or maybe some luxury kind of thing. Boat movement parameters. 1 engineer, 1 designer, 6 weeks. Creation and support for new vehicle movement simulation and movement types for use with boats and other aquatic vehicles. Vehicle loadout spawning. This is Order 3, enabling item ports and cargo grids to support vehicle loading via VMA. This will also allow ASOP terminals to report vehicle in-vehicle statuses. So by quarter 3, we might have a reliable way to spawn. Spawn vehicles within vehicles, or spawn vehicles that already had a vehicle in it properly. Multi-grid SDF capital ship deconstruction. 6 weeks, enabling the interior of a ship to follow the exterior, allowing capital ships to split in 2. Yeah, that's interesting. Love to have someone explain that exactly, because I can guess what that is, but I'd hate to be wrong. It sounds pretty obvious by the description, but culling and streaming exterior and interior ships, 6 weeks. When complete, this will The engine will no longer render the interiors and exteriors of ships when not required. Well, that makes sense. So this is going to be massive for your FPS. If your ship is if your video card's not rendering, or your CPU is not rendering the inside of a ship when it doesn't need to, that's going to save a lot. Checkpoint, restore ship state. 4 weeks. Once implemented, reloading from a checkpoint will restore the ship state when it is saved or in a designer specified state. Okay. And animated dashboard state. 1 designer, 1 engineer, 8 weeks. Finalize Gladius dashboard buttons with multi-state and fully demonstrable and procedural animations for each state. So Gladius is going to be gold status for Q1, and then they're still doing this for Squadron 42. Cargo door and elevator dynamic alignment to terrain. 1 engineer, 4 weeks. When implemented, doors and elevators across all ships and will dynamically adjust to the terrain below within a specified range. M50 engine swap. Update will allow players to swap the bespoke engine from the origin M50 to other compatible components. Seems minor, but okay. Weapon feature team hacking, tech 0, version 0. We've already gone over that. I think we've gone over all of these. Mag stripping refill, so you'll be able to steal or take bullets out of mags from AI come Q2. Healing, improved player status system focuses on implementing additional statuses, specifically intoxication from the affected drugs and the associated functionality and visual feedback. This will allow players to use the items with healing properties such as medpen and other player characters and NPCs. Charge drain, 7 weeks. All backend tech tasks related to creating the first pass of the charge/drain power feature will be used in future location and mission updates. Cutting version 2. Right away, Q2. So this could lead us to salvage. The continued development of the existing multi-tool technology will allow players to cut through specific objects. This will primarily include the ability to free-form cut on specific surfaces. Salvage right away. All backend tasks have related to creating the first pass on salvage feature will be used in future location and mission updates. So Q3 salvage. That is what you guys are looking at for salvage. Your reclaimers, your vultures, your FPS tool. So finally something for the salvagers out there that are really desiring that. Version 1 hopefully doesn't piss everyone off. It's only version 1, or version 0 actually, to be more accurate. First iteration. Weapon misfire and wear, adding potential for certain weapons to misfire or malfunction depending on various factors. Probably overclocking, or whether they're getting hit. 1 engineer. For Q4. Fire extinguisher. All back in tasks required to implement functioning fire extinguisher in game. This feature will work. This system will work alongside fire hazard systems. And we already talked about that. Soda crossbow, end of the year, 5-week, all back-end tech required for making the Uniflex crossbow functional upon its forthcoming release. FPS Weapon Overheat. The system will add overheat management to FPS weapons, meaning that players will have to manage their rate of fire. When a weapon overheats, it will damage the weapon and require a short cooldown before it can be fired again. Plasma Incendiary Disarray. Again, this is the last weeks of Q4. Further work on these damage types to cause damage over time to actors, vehicles, and ships. There you go, everybody. That is where they're at for 2021. So we have our Hercules series coming out, our Inferno coming out, Redeemer coming out, the Hull, was it the B? One of the Hull series ships coming out. The rest of them are going into 2022. Pyro as the big thing. Salvage coming mid-year. And these things are all variable, so depends on how well things go for them. Anyways, thank you for everyone joining. Hope you've had a good day. Hope you had a good time listening to that.